morning. It's our last lesson for the week. This is lesson 56. We've been talking about active and passive voice verbs. And today we're going to talk about transitive and intransitive verbs. I used to teach these some, but it's been a long time ago. So we're going to have to kind of go over it together. Now, remember we talked about action verbs being the only verbs that have voice. A state of being or linking verb does not have voice, active or passive voice. So we're only talking about action verbs now. Remember, active voice, the subject actually does it. Passive voice, it receives it. Okay, so here's some examples of different things. Active voice, just in the simple present, past, and future. Okay, progressive, present, past, and future, and then the perfect, present, past, and future, as well as passive and active. Okay. Transitive verbs express action that is received by some person or thing. Intransitive verbs express actions that is not received by any person or thing. So these are some common intransitive verbs. Cough, sit, shine, go, lie, sneeze, arrive, rise, am, is, are, was, were. Common transitive verbs, remember these are received by some person. Love, set, cut, hug, lay, eat, help, raise, and save. I am sitting on the front porch. I'll lay down on the grass, blah, blah, blah. These are just examples of these sentences with transitive and intransitive verbs. Now, verbs that could be used as either turn, fly, taste, break, run, eat, speak, spread, and sing. All right. I'm not sure why. I guess this wants us to put whether it's transitive or intransitive. I'm not sure. It doesn't tell me. I do not like it when it does that because it just says that. So it just shows it. So the cook turns the meat on the spit. Okay, on the spit is a prepositional phrase. Turns is the verb. So let me go back up here. Transitive verbs express the action that is received by some person or thing. So this would be transitive because the meat is receiving the verb turn. I will spread some kind of mayonnaise on the burger bun. Okay, on the burger bun. Will spread, and then will spread would be intransitive, I believe. Because it expresses an action that is not received by a person or a thing. Will spread. I don't know, maybe it's transitive. I'm not sure about this one. Okay, let's just go to 56A. That way we can at least check what we think. All right, underline each verb in the following sentences. Write T if it's transitive and IT if it's intransitive. Circle the direct object of each transitive verb. Okay. He was sleeping in the Iberia Hotel. Okay. That's right. I remember now. A transitive verb, I believe, has a direct object. An intransitive verb does not. I believe that's the difference in those. So, was sleeping. Okay. He was sleeping in the Iberia Hotel is a prepositional phrase, so there is no direct object. So, was sleeping would be intransitive. Now, let's check that. Yes, because there is no direct object. So you would circle or underline the verb, which is was sleeping, and put IT. Okay. The advent of modernism laid the groundwork for a distinctly Mexican poetry. Okay, so of modernism. This might be easier if for me if I can see what I'm doing here. Let's always find our prepositional phrases first, because remember, there's not going to be anything in a prepositional phrase. Okay, so of modernism. And then for a distinctly Mexican poetry, all of that is a prepositional phrase. Okay, so that's all we have left. Okay, so laid is the verb. Who or what laid? Advent. Okay, advent laid who or what? Groundwork. This is your direct object. So let's circle the direct object because that's what it tells us to do. Okay, and then the verb, since it has a direct object, it will be transitive. Let's check. That's correct. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done transitive and intransitive. Transitive have direct objects. Intransitive do not. So I'm going to do a couple more with these, then I'm going to let you do some. Diego Rivera complained about the stifling training at the National Academy of San Carlos. Okay, let's clean this up by getting rid of all of our prepositional phrases. Okay, so this at the National Academy of San Carlos, this whole thing here is a prepositional phrase because National Academy of San Carlos is one thing that you can't split up. Okay, and at is a prepositional phrase. So this whole, or a preposition, so all this is a prepositional phrase. About the stifling training is also a prepositional phrase. So when you get rid of those, it makes it much easier because it's all you have left. So complained is the verb. There's nothing else left to find a direct object, is there? So that means there is no direct object, which makes complained. I guess we should underline our verbs twice. Complained would be our verb. There is no, so it would be it, it would be intransitive. That's correct. Okay. All right. Okay. Let us see how you did. All right, go ahead and pause it and check each one of those. Okay. I see this one here. It had a, see the word but right here? Remember I always told you and, but, or. Those are always your, and here's another, here's an and. Those are always your keywords that there might be compound something. Compound subjects or compound direct objects or compound verbs or compound something. So in this sentence, you may have missed this sentence here. You may not, but I'm just saying this one would have been kind of a tricky one right here. Well, that's okay if you did. Okay, go ahead and check the rest of those. Okay, so down here on this last one, you had compound verbs. There's no direct objects for either verb, so both of these would be blah blah. I've lost my intransitive verb. I've lost my train of thought. Both of these then would be intransitive. Okay, hope you understood that okay. Let's move on. Now, we're going to active and passive. In the blanks below, rewrite each sentence with an active verb so that the verb is passive. Or, excuse me, I read that wrong. In the blanks below, rewrite each sentence with an active verb so that the verb is passive. Rewrite each sentence with a passive verb so that the verb is active. And this one's going to get a little bit tricky. Okay, so Quetzalcoatl brought a small tree to the Toltecs. Okay, brought is our verb. Now I'm going to need some help on this one because I'm not real sure about active and passive. I know there's a particular way that you can tell, but I cannot remember what it is. I'm going to have to find out. Okay, so this is your verb. This is your subject, and I believe this is active because this is saying that the subject Quetzalcoatl brought. They did it, so that means we'll have to rewrite it in passive. So it might say something to the effect of, how about, I don't know. I do not know. A small tree was brought by the Quetzalcoatl to the Toltecs. Okay, that makes sense. That kind of gets my brain going back again. I had to pause my program a minute ago and go do something, and I got confused. I apologize. Okay, so a small tree then was brought to the Toltecs from Quetzalcoatl, something to that effect. Okay. So then this one, the tree grew flowers and then brown pods. Okay, so on this one, the tree is receiving the action of growing. Am I correct? Yes, that's correct. So this is active. The tree grew flowers because the tree is actively doing it. So you have to rewrite it as passive. So I think what it said was flowers and brown pods grew on the tree. Something to that effect. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead and pause it. See if you can rewrite it. Read the sentence and see if you can figure out if it's active or passive, and then rewrite it to be the other way, and then we'll check it. So don't fret if you don't know, because I'm still a little bit wishy-washy about this, so I'll have to figure out something that'll help us with this. But see what you can do, and then we'll check it in just a second. Okay, let's pull these sentences up. See what you think here. See what you did on those. Okay, I hope you did okay on those. Those are a little bit difficult, but we will get those. All right, last part for today on your own paper. Diagram every word of these sentences. And I'd like for you to diagram each one of them. They're long, but they're not too bad. In fact, there's actually only 4 or 5. There's only 4. This one, this one, this one, and this one. So go ahead and diagram these as best you can. When you're finished, get a different color pen, pencil, color, whatever, and I'll put the answers up here, and I'd like for you to check them. Okay, let's pull these up here. Here's the first one. Okay, that'll be all for this week.